We estimate with what we have now is that 2009 is likely to be about the 5th warmest year on record, meaning since 1850.
Hello, Elena Chernenko from the Russian edition of the Newsweek magazine. Could you a little bit elaborate on the situation in Russia? Because in the press release it says that it had last year temperatures colder than average, and it's hard to explain to the readers about the global warming when you have like -50 in Siberia right now.
The warming is not uniform. It's not going to be uniform. Despite the warning, there will still be cold winters. There will be cold summers. What we are talking here is the trend when you average over large areas and over long period. But it doesn't mean that you cannot have very cold episodes from time to time.
I think both China, US, and the European Union have made their point clear, and they have put their bids on the table. And I think the EU said that they will do it on conditions, and the US said they have done enough, and China said, okay, so if the other person didn't do much reductions, we won't go further because we are not expected to put more on the table. So how do we solve the deadlock?
I think we resolve the deadlock, first of all, by those countries sitting around the table and developing a better understanding of what they plan to do and how that compares to the efforts of others. And secondly, by making the group of countries that's willing to act as big as possible, and then seeing how within that larger group a maximum degree of ambition can be shown.
Yes, white shirt, please.
For instance, in the G77, the basic draft is making the rounds. Then there's also talk of a Danish draft. Then there are also the drafts which are being done by the working groups. How are all of these going to come together?
Well, to be quite honest, I wish we'd had all of these drafts 2 years ago instead of 2 weeks ago. Because one of the things that makes this conference so complicated is that people have only got around to serious negotiation very recently. And what we now have is about a week before ministers arrive to turn all of the ideas into text. And what the working groups will have to do over the coming week is to try and cobble together all of those ideas into a coherent set of action-oriented proposals that everybody feels comfortable with.
My question is for Anders Thuresen. Anders, your minister yesterday was suggesting that he thinks that President Obama is going to come here next week with a higher number than 17% reduction. The indications we're getting is that that's not likely, and I was wondering what other things could the US give in order to maintain their 17% but still get an agreement here?
When judging the ambitions of the United States, we have to be having a rather holistic way of looking at things. The 17% are insufficient, and we hope that more will come out of that.
The feedback that we're getting from the negotiations is that the EU is resisting in agreeing to give public funding to large emerging countries such as Brazil, India, and China to help them mitigate and adapt to climate change. So first of all, is that correct? And secondly, is it possible to close a deal without public funding to large emerging markets?
I think take as an example what is happening at the moment with the CDM. If you look at the CDM market and who are the ones who have the big market shares, you are pointed immediately to the emerging economies. It's China, India, Brazil. They are benefiting at the moment from the carbon market. So the question is there then in addition need for more public finance for those countries or not? I think the poorer countries in this world will give you a definite answer to that question.